we have a young preacher in the house, and she had some stuff she wanted to share, and it was kind of like a cool like prelude to what I was going to share anyway. So I said, take your time and do that. So Haley's going to share some thoughts with us and bring the house down here for a few minutes.
Hi, guys. All right. Hi. So at Winter Retreat, the main thing was we talked about the pursuit of obedience, God, and holiness. And while we were going over this, and I mean there were many different things, and Winter Retreat in general just really spoke to me. But then we got back, and the first Wednesday back, Tony started talking about holiness as well. And as I was sitting there and I was listening to him, I just started connecting these dots in my head and just started writing stuff down. So pursuing holiness comes from a place of loving God and wanting to know Him more. And so when we seek God and find Him, that's number one. So when we seek Him, He will reveal Himself in new ways. When we get divine revelation of who God is and what He has done and what He will continue to do, we begin to love Him more. We get this deeper understanding of Him, what He wants for us, what He wants for others, for the world. And when that happens, there is just this amazing moment where you begin to fall more in love with God and what He has done for us. And when we love Him more, love is number two. When we love Him more, we begin to feel the need to please God. Not because we want something from Him or anything like that, but because we want to please our Heavenly Father. We look at Him and we say, Father, what can we do to make you happy? What do you want me to do? And when this happens, we begin to love Him and trust Him so much. And when that happens, we can do and will do anything He asks of us because we want to please Him. And that leads me to obedience. When we begin to separate ourselves from the worldly things and sin because we want to get closer to God. One of the things that someone said at Winter Retreat that really spoke to me was God's way is the way. That is the path we want to go on. That is the path we want to continue to walk on because we want to be closer to Him. His way is the right way. If we're going on a wrong path, things are going to get messed up. We're going to be struggling way more than we need to, when all we need to do is trust Him, and He's going to guide us in the right direction. So then when I started thinking about that, I started thinking about how everyone says God talks in a still small voice. It's a tiny little voice that we hear in our heads. And a lot of the times people are like, I can't hear God. I don't understand Him. I don't get it. I don't know what He's saying. And this made me think of when we're walking on the same path as Him, right next to Him, when He was walking with us, when we are walking with Him through our lives, we can hear Him because we're right next to Him. We have this close intimacy and this close relationship with Him, and we're not walking on the path that's like 10, 20, 30 feet away. We are right there. Because if we're far away from Him, He has to shout to get our attention. He has to do all these things. But when we're walking right next to Him, He gets to talk with us, and He gets to tell us to go right or left, or what the next step is, or move to a different country, or anything like that. And He gets to speak to us in His own intimate way. So I started thinking that this kind of creates a cycle. Seeking God and finding Him leads to loving Him in a deeper way, which leads us to obeying Him in order to please Him, and in return we get even closer to Him. And it becomes this cycle with God right in the center of it, where He becomes the center of our lives. He's not just, oh yeah, like I'll do this for Him sometimes or this for Him sometimes. He becomes the center of everything. And it's hard. It's not something that happens right away, but as we seek after Him and love Him, it becomes this cycle of struggling but fighting to get closer to Him, fighting off the devil and his lies, and it's a battle, but God created us to be warriors. We are warriors for Christ, and as long as we continue to fight and continue to move forward, we are able to do that. We're able to do all that God calls us to do, as long as we focus on Him and we do what He asks us out of love.
That's good stuff. Can you guys sense that God's trying to do something this morning? I just do. Um, this concept, what Haley's saying about like getting a revelation of God and letting that draw you close to Him. Um, Look, I have some thoughts to run off of that, but at the end of the day, we're here we're here today to encounter God and to be changed through encountering Him.
Feel the shadows deepen. Hey, Haley. Do you know that all the darkness we do? Do you wish that you could see it all made new? We do. Small creation groaning, it is. There's a new creation coming, it is. It's the glory of the Lord to be alive within our midst, it is. Is it good that we remind ourselves of this? It is. Is anyone